Hey everyone, welcome back to the Get Shit Done Show.
And check us out on Twitter, #GSD Show.
Are we going to say that every time?
Every time. Yeah.
Okay.
Every time.
That's cool. So what we're talking about now is we're going to talk about, we just discussed how to write that initial email, which is actually going to get somebody to respond back to us. It's going to get them to be interested in what it is we have to say. But a sad reality is even if we knock that out of the park and totally crush it and it's the best email ever, probably not a lot of people are going to write us back on that first attempt. These are kind of the things that we're going to hit on here, and they're the points that we hope become really clear. So number one is this is a game of persistence. Sales is all about persistence, and we're going to have to think about that in the right way to get success. The second piece here is that each of these follow-ups that we do, it's not just about being persistent, it's about continuing to add that value over time and building ourselves up as a trusted advisor and a quality resource, which is going to earn trust and get people to want to engage more with us over time, not hate us more and more each time we reach out. The third piece of it is, to your point, when to break up, when to end that relationship, and how to do it with class, style, elegance, and trying to get a response at the same time. And lastly, we'll talk about how to speed it up, how to do it better, how to do it in really more of a modern way that kind of makes all of our lives easier.
Love making it easy.
All right, so talk to me. When you're reaching out to a new prospect and you do this in your role today, how do you think about how many times you should reach out? How do you make that decision of should I do it 3 outreaches, 12 outreaches? What do you think?
So honestly, it's going to probably take on average minimum of 5, even upwards of 12. So depending on the type of prospect, it's going to sit somewhere in there. 44% of salespeople will give up after one try. So if you're that salesperson that's going to continuously follow up, you're going to put yourself that much further ahead.
Yeah, and it always amazes me how many times people reply back to the 5th outreach or the 6th outreach. But the crazy thing is when they do it, it's they never mention it. They never.
No.
I even wonder if they even saw the first 4 emails sometimes. Yeah. It's sometimes people just see it, they notice it, and now's the right time. There's so many variables that you have to account for when you're dealing with people, and it just makes a ton of sense to continue to follow up.
Yeah, exactly.
So the next piece here, we talked about not just doing follow-ups, but having the follow-ups add value and actually make somebody want to engage with you more. So how often do we see, hey, just checking in, did you get my last email?
And I'm guilty of this. I definitely started out doing that. Because persistence came from me naturally. I think I'm a natural salesperson. You
don't say.
I know. I'm not afraid to badger, but you can't just badger and just check in, call. You got to have a reason for it. You got to add something to it, or else they're just going to think you're really annoying.
So you've moved away from the, hey, just checking in.
Yeah, subject line, checking in. Hope all is well,
How do you structure it now? What did you change?
So I think because I got the persistence down, and then the persistence wasn't leading anywhere. So then it forced me to have to change. And actually, your buddy Hugh told me, give a little something more than just a check-in. Give them an answer to something. Give them more, research or analytics or something about your product that can make their lives better. So one thing that you've always said too is everything is a question, right? I'm constantly answering people's questions. People call in, they want to have, the best solution for their sales team. So just take some questions and figure out the answers that people want to hear and start putting that in your follow-ups.
I think that's an important point to hit on with the questions. It's we talk a lot about going after people who have specific problems. And the chances are that when you're doing your segmentation and you're building these lists, the people that are in these lists are all going to have very similar kind of core problems that they're trying to solve. And if you get one of these people on the phone or 2 of these people on the phone and they're asking you a tremendous amount of questions, I think it's pretty fair to assume that the other people in that list have the same questions as well. Now, to our point earlier, I don't know about just giving all the answers. We want to hint. We want to keep that loop open a little bit. We want to we want to make it interesting. We want to make it fun. But I think there's a tremendous opportunity for salespeople to leverage their time spent actually selling when they go back and do their prospecting. What are those questions that we're hearing? Let's turn those into content that gets people interested in having the discussion with us in the first place. So that's, I think, how we can add value in the follow-ups moving forwards. And then now for your favorite part, the breakup.
Yes.
How do you decide when to end that, and what does the breakup here mean to you?
Yeah, so I think there's 2 things. One is radio silence. You're not getting any responses. You're not getting any callbacks. They've ghosted you. Okay, if they've ghosted you, it's been 10 to 12 times. It's time to break it off. Time to let it go. Move on. And then the other one is finally when you do get a response, they didn't have the problem you thought they had, or they weren't the best fit when their response indicates that. So then that's another time to, say your piece and move on.
Yep. And so I think tactically here, the breakup email can be a little bit funny. It can have some flair to it, but I think the general idea is you want to have that person realize that this is their last opportunity, right? It's just like the same thing as when stores put things on sale, like going out of business sale or clearance sale or something along those lines. It's saying, hey, this is your last opportunity to engage. I've done all I can do here, and I'm going to stop trying. And you would be so surprised at how many people actually respond back to that and are like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I've actually been meaning to get back to you. I'm sorry I've been so busy. Let's take some time. Let's have this conversation. I think it's for the prospect, it's the recognition that they have been getting value from you and they don't want that to end. That's pretty meaningful.
Yeah, and if you're nice about it, it's so powerful. Like you said, if you're not snarky or, harsh with the breakup email, if it's just truly positive and very well written and nice, people respond to that. Then people feel bad. They will sometimes come to you.
One point that I think it's important that we don't condone threatening anybody.
No
threats. Threats are bad.
No.
Threats are bad. This isn't a threat. This is just simply saying, hey, I've tried, I'm done. You know where to find me.
And some people respond to going negative.
Yeah.
It's
the truth.
You never know. It's really the truth.
In the other case where somebody is saying, hey, actually, I've got all these questions, concerns, problems, and those aren't things that we can solve, I think the best move there is to have additional resources for those people. Let's not just drop them off. Let's not just delete that email and pretend like it doesn't matter. Let's actually make a real recommendation to that person on where they can get that problem solved and who is the right resource to help them with that.
Building a brand.
Keep it classy, San Diego. Keep it classy. All right. Now on the last piece of this. So I send a follow-up.
Yes.
I set a task for myself. Then I go back and I do the task.
Yep.
And then I send the other email.
Yep.
This whole process, what a bear to manage.
Yes.
How did you used to do it in your last job, and how do you do it now?
Yeah, so back to the mass mail merge days. It was mass mail on Tuesdays, task to do the same thing Thursday, task for cold call block Friday. It was pretty much just Outlook reminders on a constant basis and me just kind of doing those, follow-ups manually. Yeah, so that was the old way. And then HubSpot Sales, we have this amazing tool called Sequences.
Everyone's favorite.
Everyone's favorite. And it does pretty much that entire process for you. So you have a specific kind of sequence for every type of lead. You enroll that person, and it's going to just do those tasks for you until you get a response, and it's great.
And time savings?
Huge. We as salespeople don't want to be doing manual work that a computer can do. We want to be spending our time providing value, finding more prospects, doing our job, which is sales, and it's not task management.
I love it. If a robot can do it,
if a robot can
stop
do it,
doing
don't do it.
It's an amazing lesson.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
So the next section, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about how we can use technology to actually show us all these new signs of interest that we've never had the opportunity to see before, and how do we actually as salespeople react to those signals and leverage those signals in order to drive more meaningful conversations for us. So click on the bottom of your screen, move to the next section. We'll look forward to seeing you.
See you there, guys.